Okay, I sketched this lamb just a few minutes ago. Took about 5 minutes and made some decisions about what kind of design it would be. But I wanted to just point out some of the features of this little lamb. His main body is a high pile. We call it a high pile. Maybe it's 15 millimeters long. So the main fabric is fuzzy. I add a little bit of detail in here to show that it's fuzzy. Versus the ear liners are a shorter plush, maybe 3 millimeters long, shorter plush on both ears, and the face would be a shorter plush too. That way you can see the features of his face, his two eyes and the embroidered nose, maybe the vertical line going down to. I didn't put a smile on this guy. Sometimes they look really goofy if you put a big smile on them. Other times they don't. It's you know, I could put a little bit of I'll indicate a little smile. There, he looks a little happier. But I don't like to do, you know, really pasted on big smiles, because we like to leave our toys a little quieter than that. So you can see the higher pile plush is used throughout the body and the four limbs. And like the face and the ear liners, the hooves are a shorter plush. And in this case, I drew 4 split hooves. And you can see that I just indicated through a little bit of dimension that this part of the hoof is in front of this part of the hoof. Same with over here. This part of the hoof is in front of this part of the hoof back here. And down the bottom, this hoof is kind of flat towards the viewer. This one, the leg is off to the side, and I drew it so that one half of the hoof, one toe, is in front of the other. Now, you know, when we design toys, we always design them to be symmetrical, so they're not in a gesture sitting on a shelf. But if we're developing concepts, yeah, sure, it's okay to. In fact, oftentimes it's good to show one leg a little higher than the other, because it shows that, oh, this is a flexible stuffed toy. Maybe it's flat sewn, meaning you sew and turn and stuff the leg, and then you sew it into the body, and that creates a really, really flexible hip joint. Other ways to do it is you sew around, you know, picture here a circle like this, and the whole toy and leg is stuffed at the same time. So there's a dimension in there, and that creates a little bit more of a stiff joint. The toy might be more apt to stand. This wouldn't stand, but it has a less flexible aspect to it. In this case, I drew a egg-shaped tummy. I could just as easily as decided to draw something where, you know, maybe it came all the way down from up at the neck. You know, it's just a choice. Maybe he's got a little bit of an embroidered X right there for a belly button. It really doesn't, you know, you can do whatever you want. So it's hard to see here, but I drew the side of the head coming in front of the body. So this is in front of, and these little details are important. The ear comes in front of the profile of the head. Why? It just tells the sample maker that the ears are more forward. In this case also, the top of the ear is folded down more than the bottom of the ear is folded up. They each are folded and sewn into a seam, but the top is folded more than the bottom. It just makes the ear liner point down a little bit more. It's a little bit more natural looking. Same with over here. And again, it's in front of the profile of the head. And these little details are quite important. The arm here comes in front of the profile of the body, just because it helps to show that the arms are forward. They're not way back on the body. It just makes it seem a little bit more friendly, like he wants to hug you. The same with the legs. They're more forward than they are. I guess I'll just show you what it would look like if you didn't do that and it was back like that. You know, it's just a different look, but it may not be quite as friendly a look. It's just different. And the sample maker would make it entirely different based on how that was drawn. And of course, there'd be a side view too, which would help conclude, make the sample maker conclude one way or another how the leg was put on. I won't change these. Oftentimes, I put a little bit of shadowing in, particularly, I'm right-handed. I generally make the light come from the north, I call it the northwest. Because I'm right-handed, it's easier to put the shadows down here on the southeast, and it gets lighter as you go northwest. Just one way of putting it. Here, heavier shadow. And remember, this is a lamb, so it's probably off-white or cream. I don't want to make it too dark. It just would no longer look like a lamb, at least not the kind of lamb that I'm trying to design. You could always do a black sheep, sure. Here I'm gonna take out a little bit of shadow, try to give him a little bit more dimension. There's light hitting that ear, there's light hitting this ear, but maybe here it's just a little bit of shadow. There's certainly more shadow down under here, and we can make the ear liner as light or dark as we want. I'm just trying to indicate that it's in shadow. Same with down here. Here, these limbs are in shadow. There's a little bit of shadow underneath here. I mean, you don't have to render the crap out of this stuff. Please don't. But it just helps to turn the form a little bit. You folks that have a history of illustrating, I mean, you kind of get into this and it's second nature to you. Here, a little bit of shadowing down here, a little bit more shadowing here. I guess I'll just put a little bit of indicator of a higher pile versus the lower pile of the hooves. What's the belly made of? It's probably high pile also. All right. And if the hooves were really kind of a dark gray, I'd go in and just make this darker. Same with here. These are for initial concepts, particularly when you're working with the designers at Meyer. We're used to working pencil and paper, and you don't need to throw a lot of color at something because it's just not necessary. All right? Eyes are usually embroidered or black plastic.